Hello, my name is Kevin Davis, and this is my communication project. Effective and constructive communication is essential for healthy relationships with family, work, and community. However, many people have debilitating problems with communicating, and my design will attempt to assist not only myself but others in this essential function. The foundation of my design is based on this scripture from Hebrews chapter 12, verses 14 through 15. Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord, looking diligently lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. That key word of a root of bitterness, because when we try to communicate with a root of bitterness, we see everything through a slant, so we're not actually seeing things the way someone else would have us to see them. Whether one is in the church or not, an offense will stop the flow of love, not to mention it will stop communication from flowing. And there are people, couples, and family, they might sit together, work, or even sleep with each other, and they don't even communicate. And this is personal to me, as I have, like I'm sure a lot of others, have gone through some personal heartache in which a lack of communication has destroyed relationships and trust. However, I have also used this design and method, and I have been satisfied with the outcome. My overarching goal in this is to present a proper presentation of Christ and help others achieve that as well. You know, a lot of people need counseling, and an effective counselor must be a good listener and communicator. And though I don't believe one needs to be experienced in one area of counseling, some people prefer it. In my own life, I gotta hear and process things I don't want to hear. Everyone does. And no one likes being told what to do or what they should do, or the fact that they might be wrong. And this is natural. It takes courage to accept criticism from those who love you and speak kindly to you, let alone someone who you may consider a rival, a boss, or an enemy. And the only way I can become a better communicator is by talking and listening to people. I used to ask God for more patience or think that I would grow into it, but we don't get zapped into being better people. God has a sense of humor when it comes to those requests. You see, when we ask for things like patience, I find that I'm placed in situations, circumstances, and relationships that try my patience. And this is with design, so that by constant affliction and conflict, I develop patience. You know, the church has been given a bad rap in our current culture due to the example that the church itself has set. A lot of people go to church, but they live like everyone else. And if two people are going through a troubled marriage, for example, and one person is a Christian, the expectation is that the Christian should have a different perspective and response to the malady. We're to be known by the love that we show, not by position in the church or material possessions. The Christian church has displayed to the world through its loose lifestyle that it has no power. And though this isn't true, it's what it seems to be. And perception is reality for a lot of people. And as we walk and display Christ, we are to listen to our detractors and listen to those who call for aid. And my goal is to be this walking demonstration of the power of Christ and aid those who wish to do the same. You know, as it pertains to, backgrounds and blends, our backgrounds are direct links to our mindsets or our way of thinking or our very perspective. Our backgrounds shape our character and our outlook on things. And based on my own personality testing on uniquely you, I am an SC competent type, and this personality test is based on the DISC model. DISC meaning active / task oriented, I for active, people oriented, S for passive, people oriented, and C meaning passive / task oriented. The SC type interprets my personality to mean that I'm a stable and contemplative type. You know, people like me, we like to search and discover the facts. We like to weigh the evidence and proceed slowly to a logical conclusion. And we enjoy small groups of people. I was amazed, at how accurate this test was. I don't like speaking in front of large crowds, but I am sensitive to the needs of other people. Now on the flip side, I can be critical and caustic, but yes, I am a loyal friend. I do need to improve in my enthusiasm, my optimism. My mother's always telling me I need to be more optimistic about things, but I just consider it to be, being practical about things. And some more negatives is that I'm too patient and kind. Some people think that I'm really easygoing and they can take advantage of me, and I found this to be true, and I burn myself out, trying to help people. But I have to ask myself, I did ask myself, well, am I doing it? And I believe that it was because it was something that I wanted from the people I'm helping, whether if it's a relationship, a friendship, or even some type of validation. But I would encourage anyone, to take this test. Some communication barriers for me personally, some things that inhibited me from effective communication. Issues were manifold. Some other people may see me in a positive way, but I tend to be timid and insecure sometimes. And this might be a negative of my personality blend, but it's also a product of my own experiences. Most people say that I'm a great speaker and teacher, but I'm fearful of public speaking, and I rarely speak up to how I feel because I used to feel as if no one really wanted to hear what I had to say. And sometimes I fail to listen to the whole story that someone is saying before I give my 2 cents, which renders my counsel invalid. And some other times I felt that the people who were the peer person that I was trying to communicate with wasn't listening to me, so I wasn't truly listening to them. So I tried to ram home my point. Dr. Peterson notes that during a counseling session, he found that people can't communicate because they're blocked by insecurity or anger, habit, or even more their need to win an argument. Stewart says that there's a difference between being right and committed, because being right means that someone else is wrong, but being committed gives room for engagement and dialogue, and that's what I've been missing, in my communication. As far as some resources that can help me, on my journey to be a more communicative person, family is a great resource, mainly because they're the ones who tell me the truth about myself. They don't cheer me from behaving badly, they tell me the truth. And I've also acquired some books in this course, such as Why We Don't Listen by Dr. Peterson, or Listening by Burley Allen. And another resource that has been very helpful for me personally has been clinic settings at my church. The clinic's labeled like dealing with damaged emotions, and inside this setting we talk and we voice our issue. There's another study guide that I referenced titled The Thought War by Dr. Mary Banks that deals with issues of the heart and mind, and it enables individuals to come to grips with why they react the way that they do. I also found some other workbooks and aids, such as the Interpersonal Competence Development Project by Graham and Mazur, and When Harshly Criticized and Verbally Attacked by McBride. Now, as far as my action plan goes, I've witnessed my shortcomings, and I acknowledge that it's not about me. That's the first thing. I acknowledge that it's not about me and my feelings, and I have to place the needs of others before my own. And everything begins with my own thinking. If my thinking is off, I will invariably not give a righteous response, and I won't listen. Whereas if I start from a pure heart that is willing to listen, then I won't see and hear things from a slanted perspective. Next, I gotta ignore what I get from the other person and hear their content. Burley Allen calls this taking the initiative, and she states that one must ignore the personality and delivery and search for ideas. I personally believe that it's natural for someone to react instead of responding to a caustic individual, which is why I believe you need God to filter through all that bluster that comes your way. I get offended because the person comes against me, and I take it personally. Next, I have to wait until the person has said his piece before I respond, even if what they're saying is totally off base and hurtful. And this is how I've gotten myself in trouble in the past. Usually when they start talking, I don't care what the other person has to say. And Burley Allen labels this a death spot. However, I've been practicing holding my tongue, and it's paid off dividends in my life. And finally, I must evaluate what was said with an open mind and a pure heart. That person might be angry, for example, and lashing out at me, but the question I have to ask myself is, are any of those things that they're saying is true? In conclusion, Peterson notes that showing empathy towards the person that you're communicating with goes a long way in truly listening to what someone is trying to say to you. Basically, you're placing yourself in someone else's shoes. Paul said that he became all things to all men, and Jesus said that you have to deny yourself to be his disciple. And I really take those matters to heart. And even when Jesus says, you have to deny yourself, to be his disciple, we also have to deny ourselves and put others ahead of us, so that we can truly hear what they have to say and that we truly become good listeners. So that's what I've learned, and that is my project. Thank you very much.